Welcome to my channel.
This image! I am not, why?
Yeah, I see him eat all the time.
He's like,
what am I talking about?
All the time!
Dondero.
I'm a hot mess. Okay.
This is a test of our friendship.
Don't be scared. Just let it slide in.
Oh my god. Oh, what? What happened? What happened? What? We have an
Is that an outdoor kitchen?
That is an outdoor kitchen.
Hello.
Hi, Chef. Why do they give me a camera and a microphone?
Too funny. Because they don't know your name is at Mama's.
Exposing the trauma. It's like a fan dance. Just like peeking one little trauma at a time.
Roogs. How much? I didn't want to keep my snake to myself. I wanted to share. And of course, if Roogs wins when the lights
Me
go
and
off.
Chip could right now on the stream, and it's still less awkward than that.
Go Roogs!
So, in conclusion, that's
Am I the only one turned on by all this?
I'm Roogs. Welcome to my channel.
Can hear.
image! I am not, why?
Yeah, I see him eat all the time.
He's like,
what am I talking about?
All the time!
Dondero.
I'm a hot mess. Okay.
This is a test of our friendship.
Don't be scared. Just let it slide in.
Oh my god. Oh, what? What happened? What happened? What? We have an
Is that an outdoor kitchen?
That is an outdoor kitchen.
Hello.
Hi, Chef. Why do they give me a camera and a microphone?
Too funny. Because they don't know your name is at Mama's.
Exposing the trauma. It's like a fan dance. Just like peeking one little trauma at a time.
Roogs. How much? I didn't want to keep my snake to myself. I wanted to share. And of course, if Roogs wins when the lights
Me
go
and
off.
Chip could right now on the stream, and it's still less awkward than that.
Go Roogs!
So, in conclusion, that's
Am I the only one turned on by all this?
I'm Roogs. Welcome to my channel.
Can hear.
image! I am not, why?
Yeah, I see him eat all the time.
He's like,
what am I talking about?
All the time!
Dondero.
I'm a hot mess. Okay.
This is a test of our friendship.
Don't be scared. Just let it slide in.
Oh my god. Oh, what? What happened? What happened? What? We have an
Is that an outdoor kitchen?
That is an outdoor kitchen.
Hello.
Hi, Chef. Why do they give me a camera and a microphone?
Too funny. Because they don't know your name is at Mama's.
Exposing the trauma. It's like a fan dance. Just like peeking one little trauma at a time.
Roogs. How much? I didn't want to keep my snake to myself. I wanted to share. And of course, if Roogs wins when the lights
Me
go
and
off.
Chip could right now on the stream, and it's still less awkward than that.
Go Roogs!
Hopefully we have sound. Hello, everyone.
Sound check.
Sound check. Okay, cool.
Yep, I can hear me.
Yay! And we're not doubled.
Is it doubled?
He's listening.
I think it's good.
Ah! Yay! Sounds good. Woohoo! Okay, cool. Hello, everyone.
Your sound check, guys.
Welcome
Thanks,
to-
Kavina. Appreciate the sound check.
Sound check. Wait. Welcome to Waking Up with Nana and PepPep. I am one of your hosts. I am a Roogs from the internet, the BSBN, and Nerd Mames. My title gets really long. I feel like it's a very royal, like, welcome to Empress of Roogs, Queen of whatever, and Duchess of Bed, and blah, 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 blah. Like, don't you feel like that? That's how my intro has become.
I kind of feel like you need a Daenerys. Like you need the breaker of chains and this of that. I feel like you kind of do need that.
That's pretty much how my intro is like now. Anyway, I am a Roogs, and with me is my best friend and fellow trauma Trisket, Sean, and PepPep.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. And today, well, you know what? That's Sean's bit. I will do the disclaimer. Here on Waking Up with Nana and PepPep, we are not here to bash or discredit anybody's religious beliefs or faith. We think faith and religion are beautiful things when done in a mentally and emotionally healthy way. However, we are not mental health professionals. We're not licensed counselors. We aren't even life coaches. We're just two people with trauma talking on the internet. Yay! So that is what we are. If you do need professional help, which I know that Sean and I both do, so it's fine and it's cool. If you do need professional help, we do have resources to help you get in touch with somebody who can help you, who is a licensed professional. We also have, I'm actually wearing my sweatshirt today. We also have a charity called Fight Against the Sadness. It's in our merch shop, and anytime you buy anything with the Fight Against the Sadness merch, 100% of the profits go to Mental Health America, who have wonderful online resources that can help you sort of target in sort of where your needs are, and also help you get in touch with somebody who is a professional. And if you're not, comfortable talking with us about you needing help, certainly Mental Health America, they have resources all over the country. They're amazing. And, so if you need it, go find it. You could also donate. I have a link tree, which Sean's going to put in there because I still haven't done that on my Touch portal because life. I know. If you want to donate to that organization and to our charity, that is certainly there. And you could just put in the notes, donation for charity or donation Fight Against the Sadness. And that obviously will go there as well. We grew up, Sean and I grew up in the Southern Baptist Convention, Southern Baptist Church. It is an evangelical Protestant denomination. Sect. We also refer to it as the cult. A lot of the mindset is a very cult-like, and if you take a good long look at it, so if you disagree, I would suggest you compare the notes and light bulbs might go off. Anyway, that's your opinion. If you don't like what we're saying, that's totally your call, and that's fine. We are totally cool with it. Then you can log off. No hate speech, none of that mess. It's up to you. So that is our disclaimer. Yeah. Sean, what are we doing this week?
All right. So this is a very special week. This week we're talking about love and marriage. I like to think of it as kind of going together like a horse and a carriage. And I'm telling you, you just can't have one without the other. Love and marriage.
I can't get away from it.
And marriage. It's an institution. You just can't disparage it. I mean, no matter who you talk to, like the local gentry, they will say it's elementary.
No, are you done? Are you done? Can we get to our podcast? I'm done with your pun. Like, let's go.
What?
You were gonna recite the entire song if I didn't stop you, so go.
No, I'm done. I'm done.
Bonnie
I'm good.
even was like,
I'm
Sean,
good.
stop it. No.
Oh my god, I had that one saved up. That was in the back
He was
pocket for a while.
so excited about it. He was like,
I was.
Anyway,
So yeah,
go ahead.
we're talking about love and marriage. We're talking about dating, courtship. I just love the phrase calling it courtship because it feels old fashioned because it is. We're talking about the gold star. Yes, thanks for the gold star. We're talking about what was it like dating or what dating in as a Christian. Dating when we were younger. What did the church teach us about dating, courtship, and about marriage? Because they taught us some really wacky stuff, some really kind of crazy,
Wacky. I like how you like wacky. Like
wacky, yeah. Like you think about it, especially from outside, and you go, that's messed up. Like really, you can't, huh? It doesn't make sense whatsoever.
nothing about the church makes sense.
That's
What are you
true.
talking
Yeah.
about?
So it's two parts. So the first part is like, what are the rules and rituals of dating? What was it like? What were we taught on how to date? The proper rules that we're supposed to follow. And then the second part is the same thing, but for
They're
marriage.
arguing about what what reward you should get. Calvino says gold star.
Bronze
Bonnie
star.
says bronze star at
What?
best, and
No.
Calvino's like, you know what? Let's meet in the middle. Like,
Let's meet in the middle. It's a compromise. It's like marriage. It's a compromise.
what compromise? What the fuck? What compromise? What? Okay, all right.
Wov. Twoo
Okay, yeah. So the
Oh.
Baptist church is like any other church, but they are because they're evangelical, because they are very strict in their teachings. It is very strict dating, and you wouldn't think, there are some like, and I've had friends Lutherans and but every denomination honestly has this mindset. Stick with your own. Stick with your own. Like Catholics should marry Catholics. Like it was, all of these, like
it's almost like ethnicity, because that happens a lot
Yes.
within ethnicities.
Yes.
So religion Southern Baptist is really bad for it. You want to find a good Southern girl, a good
and it's
Southern
not
man.
Southern Baptist girl. Like you don't like it was like a thing. Like you just think, oh, I'm just gonna date another Christian. No. And you can't
No.
even just date like an independent Baptist. Don't date
or
like
Free Will
ooh,
Baptist. No. Southern.
no.
If you
Southern
brought
Baptist.
home a Lutheran, oh no. Oh heck no. Or a Catholic. No. Lutheran, Catholic, Presbyterian, you're getting a little closer.
That's edgy.
But
that's edge. That's a
edgy,
little. That's a little.
yeah.
Just a little. And Methodist, we don't even talk about the Methodists.
No,
like, we
that's a
don't
whole
even.
different breed. Yeah, they really did. They wanted you to bring home a good Southern Baptist girl or boy.
Both of y'all hush. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, come on now.
Yeah. None your business. Mind your business.
Exactly. So
But they
when
did.
it comes to
Yeah, go ahead. Go bringing home the
I'll say,
girl.
yeah. So and what was the thing? What was the phrase they always said when it came to who you dated? The caution. Make sure that when you date, it's important to not be unequally yoked.
No, yeah, you have
They
to be equally
loved-
yoked.
Find someone that's equally yoked. That was they love that phrase.
They did. They
Yeah,
did.
yeah. They compared us to oxen. It was all about
Because there was some verse in the Bible, I don't even remember
do not
where
be
it was.
unequally yoked. Mhm.
Yeah, something like that. And I just imagine these like big ass like cow like you see in India, like the big ass like I was like, what? Okay.
That's what it was. That's exactly what it was. It was oxen, and the whole theory was that if they were not equally yoked, if they weren't the same caliber,
they would not plow straight. Right. Like things were not
Yep.
right.
So you could, if you don't find someone that's equally yoked, your plowing is not going to be as successful.
I tried to get yoked, but found out the gym wasn't for me. I Quit. What the fuck? I'm out.
Score one for C. Roogs.
I know. I'm like, whatever. I'm like, okay. I mean, I can't with the puns today. It's like we got to make jokes because Valentine's Day makes us so fucking uncomfortable. Like it's like the pressure is real.
Does.
So it does when we are young. Like let's start when we're little. Like they really push like love and that they almost like dating doesn't exist. It's almost like dating and that relationships of any romantic nature don't exist until you hit youth group, and then all of a sudden you're supposed to find somebody to marry. It wasn't you went from no, you just concentrate. Don't worry about don't worry about the opposite sex. Don't worry about all these weird things going on with your body. Don't worry about any of that. That just, you got to concentrate on your faith. And then all of a sudden, I'm supposed to be getting married. I'm supposed to be like looking for my life mate, my soulmate, the one that God wants for me. When the fuck we went from 0 to 100 in like no time flat. I'm supposed to find somebody.
It's like the flip of a switch.
Right.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I'm supposed to find somebody to marry. There's no explanation about dating. There's no explanation about how to, sort of finding out, not even just not, and I hate saying playing the field because it's not that, but exploring your options. What works for you? There is, and honestly, that's just, that bleeds through all of the Southern Baptist is like, you don't go exploring your shit. Like, none of your shit. None of it. Emotionally, mentally, physically.
You're supposed to know what you want for the rest of your life. Even though you're in your teens and have no idea who you are, you really don't. No idea what you want because you don't even know who you are, and you're supposed to figure out all of that compatibility, and you don't have any clue whatsoever.
You don't know who you are.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, but they want you to get married young, and then they want you to have kids young. And I think it's all because they want to it's all about populating the church. That's what it is. It's get them. If you get all that done and you keep them in the church, then you just kind of grow the church. That's where I really feel that was all the pressure came from.
It's very much don't you ever think that it was nothing for people in your church to get married at like 2021 and have kids? Like, and didn't you feel when you got to that age and you weren't married, or like they were, there was the singles class was incredibly small. Like,
it was very tiny. Yeah.
And they used it as a dating scene. They used it as a date. This is pre-app, by the way, pre-dating app.
Yeah. A lot of times it was the people who were in college, and then they came back for a weekend, or they came back for the summer.
That was the people who went to college in like nearby and lived local, at home or whatever. Yeah, the local.
That was the singles, and it kind of was. They wanted you to get plugged in right there in church. Plugged in.
So what did they teach? So this is what it taught us and how it traumatized us. Because you're like, well, okay, how did it traumatize us? Well, this is how it traumatized us, because we did not. We in turn learned and grew up and were taught, if you had these feelings for somebody, you loved them. Like, these feelings weren't like and everybody does, that young love. And even the non-Christians say, I love you after like 3 weeks or whatever. But those versus the teenagers who were not raised the way we were raised, and us, is that they say, I love you, and then they break up or something bad happens. And they're like, fine, I'll find another boyfriend, or fine, I'll whatever.
Sure.
We were taught if we felt love, they were our soulmate. We were the one that God was meant for us. And we were going to stick it out regardless of what happened.
Yes.
That love, like, we weren't taught how to break up. We weren't taught that breaking up was healthy. We weren't taught that sometimes people just aren't compatible, and it's okay to not be. We were taught that if you were attracted to somebody and you had any type of feelings of affection or care for someone, that was it. They were that person, and you stuck it out regardless of what happened. And that's a very unhealthy mindset. Like so many people, well, I love this person, so I'm going to sleep with them because I love them. They're my soulmate. We're going to get married. We're going to get married.
God brought them into my life. We're going to get married.
If you dated somebody, you never dated somebody without the thought of we're going to be together forever.
Yes. There was no idea of dating to figure out what you like, what you're interested in, what you're compatible with. Because that's what you're doing is you're figuring out what you're compatible with and what your preferences are. Otherwise, how do you know? But we're not taught to do that. We're taught if you start date to mate, date to marry. Date someone. Yeah. So it was always that if you're dating someone, then that means that you have the possibility of marriage. And that was always kind of out there. So especially if they broke up with you, you thought this whole thing was like God ordained. So if they broke up with you, that was huge. That was that hurt. You took that more than just, okay, we didn't work out. It was like detrimental.
Yes.
To your
and it was, and especially as a female, what did I do wrong? What am I doing wrong? Was I not godly enough? Was I not pure enough? I don't know. Like you never learned. You always dated to get married. You didn't date somebody because you liked them and you wanted to see where it went. Like I still to this day can't understand that concept. That's how much it was ingrained in us. Like I don't understand. Like it was basically love bombing. They were teaching us how love bombing was normal, which is why so many of these Southern Baptists, especially marriages, were toxic, is because they teach you that love bombing is normal. Love bombing is normal. And I'm going to tell you right now, love bombing is not okay. Like, you're not okay.
No.
No. Like, so, yeah, you go from nothing to let's get married. And, oh, my God. And just the spiral.
Flipping a switch. Yep.
Yes. And so, you want to talk about courting?
Oh God, yes. So you're dating. You find someone, you guys start dating. Then all these other rules kind of come into play.
Fair enough, Calvino. Fair enough.
What did Calvino
He
say?
said bombing in general is unhealthy.
That is true. Yes.
I don't know. I felt some car bombs that were pretty healthy for me. Anyway, go ahead.
Wow, that's where we're at. All right. That's cool. Okay, so anytime there were couples in the youth group, the adults always paid special attention to the couples because you never know. We were always seen as soon as whether it was you couldn't sit next to each other in the church bus. There was always somebody paying attention to the couples in the church.
Always the hand
Yes.
check.
Oh, hey, always a hand check. Always the hand check. They'd separate the couples in the bus. You could never be near each other. Someone was always like, there was always like an adult designated to keep watch, make sure that they never disappeared, like on a trip or something. That they were always, it was like buddy system. Really? It's like if a couple was alone for more than a couple seconds, like something horrible was gonna go wrong.
So courting is exactly what you think it is. It is very old fashioned. For anybody who's actually seen like 20 Kids and Counting, like that's like they are fundamental independent Baptists. Like they do that. Courting is that you actually have to ask the dad. And my parents did this. And they did it in a sort of like hybrid form. So it was very much, So the boy shows interest, or he likes you, or you like the
Mhm.
boy, and you start like, and they want to date you, right?
Yes.
So
Mhm.
any guy who, and Sean actually had to go through this.
I
My
did. I did.
stepdad,
I remember this
my
conversation.
my stepdad, he had to meet every single boy that came and wanted to date at me or my sisters.
Mhm.
And so they would have to come into the house before we even went out anywhere or he came over, any of that. The first thing he had to do was come over. And he did
Mhm.
it several different ways. There were several different types of ways he did it. But in essence, the boy came over, scared
Mm.
out of his mind because my stepdad is a former Army drill sergeant. He's pretty, and he wasn't like big. Like he was very scared, but
He
he was
was
very much.
imposing.
Yes, he was very much. You knew
Mhm.
that he would kill you and not give a shit. Like that guy. Like he wasn't big, but
Yes.
he was like he might go to jail. Like he
He
would be okay
wasn't.
going
He
to jail.
wasn't on the. He wasn't sitting on the porch with the shotgun. He was up on the second floor balcony with a sniper rifle. You
No,
wouldn't
no,
see it
no. That's
coming.
not it. My stepdad was very much like the knife in the pocket, like because he was also an
Yeah, yeah.
ER.
There
He
you
was
go.
also an ER
Yes.
trauma nurse, so he would know how to
Mhm.
kill you and get away with it. But anyway,
Yeah.
the boy would come into the house. And my stepdad would meet like, okay, I would tell him he would be ready. And it was always depending on the scenario. Sometimes he'd
Mhm.
meet them in the living room and sit them down and all the girls and women had to leave. Or
Mhm.
he
Yep.
would
Yep.
take them out on I know a couple of my exes that he took them out a walk. We had 8 acres of our land, and he would take them for a walk. Let's go for a walk. He'd take them for a walk.
Oh my
Or if he
God.
really wanted to intimidate him, if he really got some bad, like when he met the guy at the door and got some really bad vibes from him, he would take them
Mhm.
out to his shop, which was a converted old chicken coop, and it's a very large bricked old fashioned chicken like large shop, could fit a whole car
Mhm.
in it. And that's where he did all his woodworking and his car fixing. That's where all his woodworking tools and all of his tools were. And that's also where the big black snake that he befriended lived. And so there was like snake skins like draping.
Mhm.
That's where he would take them. And he would have the
Mhm.
talk. He would have the talk because we weren't capable. Like that's again, we did
Mhm.
not know how to set our own boundaries. We weren't taught how to
Mhm.
set, especially as a female. We were taught that we couldn't set boundaries. Like we had to have somebody else do it for us. So my
Yes.
stepdad, being the man of the house and head of the household, would sit down with
Mhm.
the boy and he would be like, no means no. You don't touch
Mhm.
my daughter. You
Yep.
respect her. When I say
Mhm.
10 o'clock, it's 9:55 when she's
Yep.
walking through the door. And it was all
Yep.
this whole thing of he was setting the boundaries for me. So when I got
Mhm.
to college and got out of shirt, like when I got dating on my own, I had no idea what saying no meant. I had no idea. I had no idea that like any of this stuff was a thing. I didn't know what boundary setting was. They didn't tell me because my stepdad took care of it. Like I don't know. So if somebody else took care of it for me,
Mhm.
why don't you
And
tell
he
me
wasn't
about your
around then.
experience? Why don't you tell me about your experience,
Oh,
John?
okay. I had to sit down in the living room conversation.
Oh well,
The
he must have
sunken
liked you. He must
yeah,
have
I
liked
think
you.
yeah. Oh, this was when I was in college. You were still a senior, right?
I was a senior
Yeah.
in high school.
Yeah. So he sat me down and he did the same thing. All the ladies in the house had to leave. I think you went to your room. Because you couldn't be around for the conversation. And he kind of very similar to what you said. He said, "I don't always agree with the choices that she makes, but those are her choices." He didn't go into details about that, but he did say, "But those are her choices. Um, what she says goes. If she says no, that means no, and you had better listen to that." He said, "Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a former Marine recon, but I'm also I think he said he was an ER nurse, or he worked in the hospital." He said, "So why do I tell you this? I tell you this because I want you to understand that as a Marine recon, I know how to cut your balls off, but as an ER nurse, I know how to sew them back on so nobody knows. Think about that when you're with my daughter. Sir, yes, sir. Oh, yeah, he was something else.
He was something, and I get that it was, but that is how we grew up. That is absolutely how I grew as a female learning it. Now, we were taught how to date differently because I was female and Sean was male. We were taught how to date differently because we were taught just to be the innocent, passive, like we never made the first move. We never stated our boundaries. We never, just as long as we were good Christian girls, the good Christian boy would come to us. It was never, and we had to make sure we were following the rules of the Bible. So when we were dating a boy, we had to make sure that we put him first. We put his needs first. They trained us how to be codependent, folks. They trained us how to be codependent. They trained us that we weren't allowed. They trained us how that everything that we did was to serve whoever we were dating or we were with at the time, because we were courting and we were in training to be married. Think about that. Yes. We were taught how to be codependent. We were taught how to follow the Bible's rules, and we were taught how to be all these things because we were in training how to be a good spouse and a good wife, a good Christian,
subservient Christian wife.
Yes. And if we had any type of opinions, any type of boundaries, and the good Christian boys, you know, we didn't listen to them or whatever. That's why we were not, that's why God was not putting the person that he wanted to be in our life, because never said, hey, maybe he's a toxic motherfucker who is like, doesn't want you to set boundaries or have your own opinions. No. It was always my fault. I was never doing the right thing. I was always the one, and I was always the reason that I was not falling in love. What the fuck? I don't know how to date.
Maybe if you didn't, maybe if you weren't so independent, maybe if you didn't talk so much, maybe if you didn't share your opinion so much, maybe you should just, it was all these things of no one's gonna want to date you. You're not gonna find a godly man if you behave, if you act like that.
Yeah.
The problem is, if that's how you have to, if you have to be that in order to attract a man, you don't. Why would you even want one? Why would you need to do that? If they're not going to like you for who you are, they didn't teach you that though. They're like, you have to be. Yeah, you were absolutely a subservient, submissive wife in training.
Yes. And here is, I actually saw a TikTok, and she's an ex-evangelical. She actually, her husband turned out he is asexual. He's non-binary. And she does some great like mocking skits and that type of things. But she did this one where she dressed as a college, one of those Christian college men, and was talking to a girl in one of his classes. He's like, I had felt like and I'm paraphrasing, but I had felt the Lord calling me that you might be the one to lead. I mean, I've seen you around Bible class, and I felt a calling that you might be the one for me. But then I found out that you played Halo, and I found like that godly thing. And then it just, I can't be with somebody who doesn't follow the Lord's will of the way a proper Christian girl, like, and they went on this whole thing. And I was like, I don't know how many times I got that speech. I was going to ask you out, but then I found out that you liked this. Or I found out that you were like, you said this, or you have this opinion. And then like the Lord laid it on me, and I've just found I can't be with somebody who is, not following the walk of the Lord in the way that, a proper Christian woman should be. And I can't have myself yoked to that.
Yes.
And again, fucking gets in your head that I've got to change everything about myself to be what the other person. It's not, and then it becomes who you are. It just becomes who you are. You just try to, this whole trauma thing, or you're dating somebody, or you're married to somebody, or you have feelings for somebody, and that's when you try to be like, you feel them out, and you're very observant, and you're very like, okay, they like this, so I'm going to try and be this, and I'm going to try to adjust this. I don't quite agree, but I like this, but I'm not going to do it anymore because they don't like it. You try to mold yourself into the person that they want to be with, and it's codependent, it's toxic, and then you end up one day sitting down going, I don't know who the fuck I am anymore. I don't know who the fuck I am. I don't know what this is. I don't know what.
Yep.
And then when you start the journey of healing, and you start, okay, well, this is a boundary. This is what a boundary is. And you know what? I like this. I'm going to do this. And I'm going to do it because I like it, not because anybody else wants me to. Then they're like, who are you? Because they don't know who
you're
you
not
are.
the person.
Married,
yes.
or they
and that's
dating.
not completely their fault, because you changed who you were to be. Yeah.
That was the hardest thing I had to learn. I had some of my ex-fiancés, that's the whole reason we broke up, is because I got to that point. Especially my last one, my last fiance before the one I got married to. He, like, I woke up one day and went, no, I don't want to be this proper. I don't. And so I started, and he's like, who are you? You are not, who are you?
I don't
and I
recognize
went, this
you.
is who, right. And honestly, the hardest thing that I came to terms with was that was my fault. I could be mad at them, and yes, I can be mad at them a little bit. They had something, but it was all my doing, because I was changing who I was. That was my choice. Yeah. That was my choice to do that. But that was how I was trained. That was how I was trained, is I had to be codependent, submissive, and I had to be malleable to whoever I was dating at the time.
Yes. And they try to teach the same thing for the male perspective, is the same thing you're talking about, opposite of, this is the girl that you're looking for, this is who you want, this is you want to be equally yoked. And so they always praise and lauded the ones that were like, they were always reading their Bible and doing their devotional, and they were good, they were religious and Christ, God fearing. And that's what they pushed, and a lot of the guys, that's what they followed. I found myself interesting, not leaning that direction. Like, I found myself, there was a couple girls in youth. One was very much prim and proper, and then there was another one who was quite the opposite. Very independent, very outspoken, and that's the one that I found myself more interested in. Was that type of person.
Tell me you're traumatized by the church without telling me you're traumatized by the church. Just to see who they are dating. Just find out who they are. Oh, you know what? Find out what type of women they're attracted to, or partner, men or women. Find out what they're attracted to, and then see their porn. That's all I gotta say. Find out you're traumatized by the church by finding out you're traumatized by the church. That's a good indicator.
Yeah. And I could see, especially when you look at, like, everyone wanted to emulate the pastor's wife, and the pastor's wife was that she was always in the background. She was the quiet, the quiet strength, but she was always supportive of her husband, of the pastor, and everyone wanted to emulate her. And she was, she didn't speak up, and she didn't seem independent. Come to find out later, that was absolutely all a show, and eventually she got tired of it, and because it wasn't that wasn't who she is, and it shouldn't have been. But we're taught, even just while dating, we're taught the male dominance of the relationship. It wasn't until, like, college,
and not in the fun way.
No, not in the fun way.
Not in the fun way.
Yeah. It's very old. It was very old fashioned. I mean, it was in the 80s. It was in the 90s. Actually, at this point, it was in the 90s, but it felt very old fashioned. Especially the male. The male is the one seeking the female. So the female had to make themselves available, make themselves look a certain way in order to attract the guy, for the guy to
Mm-hmm.
notice her. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so it wasn't about being yourself. It was about being what someone would want you to be. It was very much like arranged marriages, because there was actually kind of a push for that, right? The whole date, because there was a push for dating, don't stop dating. There was a big push in the 90s for this whole you shouldn't date. Dating isn't godly. So they wouldn't say it was an arranged marriage, but it pretty much was. It was an arranged marriage by God. That's what they were telling you. It wasn't your parents that were doing it. It was God was arranging your marriage. You had to wait for the person that God wanted you to be with. They were going to
Mm-hmm.
bring that person into your life. And so all of a sudden you meet someone new who is a good Christian person, and your brain immediately goes, oh, maybe this is the person that God brought in my life. And you attach to that. And that's when the
Mm-hmm.
love bombing happens. And
Mm-hmm.
if it doesn't work out, it's not we didn't work out. It's you're completely devastated because you thought this was a God thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're not taught
Absolutely.
how to, yeah. Or if you're the one that's like, I don't think this relationship is working, by breaking up with the person, you're saying that you know better than God, because God brought this person into your life. And it
Mm-hmm.
was completely you didn't really learn how to break up with people or how to be broken up with.
No, like you didn't.
You were not prepared
Like
for
you
life at all.
absolutely no, you're not.
Mhm.
Now we're talking about dating before we get to marriage, and you're talking about that. Okay, now we did talk about this in purity culture, but here we go again, because
Oh, Lord.
here we go again, because this is a very, 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 very like cornerstone foundation
Mhm.
of how, and this is why I went off the last time, and I'm probably gonna go off this time. Fucking
It's okay.
purity
We're here for
culture.
it.
Purity motherfucking culture. They did
Mhm.
not. Okay, just like they didn't teach you how to set boundaries and how to properly love, or how to have a healthy relationship, especially the
Mhm.
females. Fucking purity culture. True love
Mhm.
motherfucking waits. True love
Oh, God.
motherfucking waits.
Mhm.
Now, here is where I can get behind, and not in the way that you think, that true love does wait.
Mhm.
Because true love does wait, because they're not rushing you into doing
Mhm.
things that you don't want to do. And that
Mhm.
includes being in a committed relationship, being
Mhm.
married, being any of
Mhm.
that. True love is, it's not necessarily waiting, is true love is patient. And
Mhm.
real love is not, well, I want to do this, so we're going to do it. I want to do
Yeah.
this. Why aren't you on board?
Yes.
Real
Mhm.
love is like, especially when you're dating, and it's been a hot minute, and I'm not going to say that but this is all, again, observation from the outside, especially with all y'all
Mhm.
people that are getting single. All y'all
Mhm.
that are
Yep.
single.
Reclaiming our singleness.
Reclaiming your singleness. So again, this is all just from the outside,
Yeah.
but not rushing into a relationship, because
Yeah.
that is where it's number one. True, like if you truly care about a person
Mhm.
and you understand, hey, I got hurt in my marriage, my last engagement, my dating.
Mhm.
I have some things I need to work on, but I met this person. I'm really attracted to them, and I really do like them, and I really am starting to have really, deep feelings for them. But you know what? I think we just need to take it slow. I think,
Mhm.
if we're, I need to work on me, and I'm going to tell,
Mhm.
but communicating that. So real love, not true love, real love is going, I really have feelings for you, but I'm not going to rush into this.
Mhm.
We don't have to start being boyfriend or girlfriend or man friend or woman friend or whatever you want to, or just a
Yeah.
couple. We don't have to be a couple right now. We can go out. We can go on
Mhm.
dates. We can hang out.
Mhm.
We can get to know each other without having to establish this, you're my boyfriend, you're my
Committed.
property, you
Yes.
committed thing, and that's okay.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
and it took me a long time for me to really understand that concept, that
Mhm.
you don't have to, because you have feelings for somebody, you don't have to be in a relationship with them. You don't have to be committed to them. It's okay. And I'm not saying that you have to go dating around either, but you can say, I am working on things. I have feelings for you. I, care about you and your well-being, and you know what? I'm okay with us bumping uglies, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we're right to be together long term.
Oh my God, that hits on some trauma right there. That concept, right? Yeah.
But that's true love waits. It refers to, especially in the church, refers to sex, because again, you equate sex with love, and
there
you
it
know
is.
how I feel about that motherfucking bullshit mother. Love is not sex. So true love, it's not saying true love waits. No. Love is not sex. Love is not sex. You can have sex with somebody. You can have friends with benefits. I'm on a podcast where we talk about all the ways you can have sex with somebody and not be in a relation, like a committed, you're my partner relationship. And it's perfectly natural as long as you communicate that. And as long as both parties are in agreement and both parties are always communicating. But real love, real healthy love, is communicating and being patient. It's being patient on, and then there will come a point where you're like, okay, I really do. We do whatever. We've been doing this for like months, a year, whatever. Where are we standing? Because I need a commitment, and that's okay. And then if they're not in the same place, that's okay too. Going, okay, well, I have to move on then. And understanding, having feelings for somebody, but not being in the same mental and emotional place and not being able to is still okay. Knowing you go, I still have feelings for you, but apparently we're just not in the same place. It's time for me to go find somebody who might be interested, and that's okay. And it's okay to be the person going, I'm not there. And it's okay to do that too. But we weren't taught that. We were not taught that at all. You have feelings for somebody, and you're instantly going to be their boyfriend or girlfriend, and then you're going to date to get married, and true love waits. But since you are taught that you're dating this person and they're the person that God meant for you, and you're in love with them, then you start justifying shit.
Yes.
Unhealthy
You
habits.
start justifying
So
and there's a lack of communication. What you're getting to is everything that you're saying is about communication. It's, hey, we went out on a date, and it was a fantastic date. But it doesn't mean that we are now in a committed relationship. Whereas when we were growing up, that was the assumption, because why would you go on a date if you weren't ready for a committed relationship? Because you don't date unless you're looking to marry, right? So there's no communication there. There's a lot of assumptions being made about what you're doing and why you're there. And so everything you're saying is about communicating every step of the way. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I want. These are the areas that I have. These are my scars. This is my trauma, and I have to be careful. It's true love waits until you're ready, until you feel, until you're comfortable with this, until you can give consent or whatever. Whereas true love waits, this is all about, it's very black and white. It's all about the sex. The true love waits thing is all about the sex part. So you're in this relationship and you're dating to marry, and then you're like, well, I love this person. I can see myself marrying this person. So then you're like, well, because I can see myself marrying with them, maybe it's not that big of a deal to do, some sex stuff.
Yeah, and
Maybe
it's
we
never,
could
but as long as I'm not doing the penetrative sex, as long as his thing ain't in my thing, we can do the other stuff, like
other stuff. Yeah. I can put his thing in other areas, but just not that area. Yeah.
Oh my God, yes, like we can do hand stuff. We want to do hand stuff, okay?
Hand stuff. Yeah,
we got really good at hand stuff and mouth stuff. We got really good at that.
Wait.
Yeah, think about it. No, he
I'm
just thought about it.
No, I suddenly had this. if you're really into to getting mouth stuff, find yourself a good Southern Christian girl from the '90s. There's a good chance they got that on lock. That they're good. Yeah.
Same goes for the women. Find yourself a good Christian boy. You got. They got.
He will know his way around. Yeah.
He got some blessed hands.
Some blessed hands. And a silver tongue, perhaps.
Maybe. I mean,
the skills you pick up from your trauma.
Because you know what? I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it.
It's not all bad. It's not all bad.
Yes. So we're gonna. Doesn't have anything to do with Southern Baptist, but I'm gonna point this out. We're talking about weird things you learn when you're dating to try to remain pure. Let's talk about soaking. Let's talk about the Mormon version of soaking. Okay, so in case you don't know what soaking is, it is these. It's a trend. Young, very devoted Mormon young people who they have and it started and it's branched out a little bit to the other Christian sects, but this is very much where the male puts himself into the female and they just lay there, and a lot of times they'll have a friend jump on the bed or move the bed for them, because that's not them moving. It is the act of them, the movement that is unholy. The things that you the things that you manipulate yourself to believing. Like the things that you believe so that you can get past. You want to be a devout Christian. You want to be a devout whatever. You want to be devout and you believe that with all your heart, but you have these human needs. Let's dive into some soaking. And that's what you do. And that is the skills you learn dating as a Christian, is you learn to find loopholes and ways that you can gaslight yourself, which means bending reality. You become very skilled, and this is how they do it, bending reality so that you can justify doing bad. It's so and you can up.
And there's two sides to that. There is gaslighting of yourself. There's bending your own reality, justifying it to yourself. It's okay if we do this, because it's okay if I do this, if I participate in this, because I'm gonna marry this person. Right? You're not even engaged, but you're like, well, I'm dating to marry, so I'm going to marry this person, right? But the other one is the coercive side of it. It's the, I'm going to convince them that it's okay for us to do this, even though they said, no, I don't want to. You coerce them because you're like, but for the same way you would coerce yourself. So there's two sides of that, and they're very destructive.
And they teach you, I could tell you this, the cognitive. We are the cognitive. We got gold medals. I'm a world champion of cognitive dissonance. You have no motherfucking clue. I am world champ. They teach you in that line of coerciveness. They teach you that that's normal. They teach you, especially as a female, like they tell you never say no to your husband or your boyfriend. They teach you never to say that they're right. They're always right. Even if it feels wrong to you, it doesn't, and it's mind blowing. It really is mind blowing that is normal. That is normal. I don't want to, but okay. I mean, you want to, so I'll do it. And that's not just sexually. That's just with anything. I mean, coercion is not just sexual. It's anything. I don't want to do it, but I'll do it because you want me to do it. I'll do it. And you are literally, when you start dating or you're at dating age, it is literally how they train you, and you can't escape it. Now, I've been out of the church since I was in my 20s, and it's still one of those things that I have to fight against because it has changed everything. Like I said, cognitive dissonance, it is normal to you. The unhealthy habits are normal, so you don't think that they're unhealthy. You think that that's just the way it is. That's the way dating is. That's just the way love is. That's just the way marriage is. And you tell yourself, that's just the way it is.
Yep.
when you have to tell yourself again, one of those things when you just like when you have to tell yourself that's just the way it is, that's a red flag. That's not
Red
a red
flag.
flag. That's a red lights that are
Neon.
going. If you're thinking or somebody is telling you both ways, if somebody's telling you that's just the way it is when you're trying to express yourself, or you're thinking to yourself, that's just the way it is. That's just the way marriage is. No, I don't understand why you're liking this. I don't understand why you're whatever, blah, blah, blah. That's a red flag that you're in a toxic relationship, folks. And shit's not okay. But you're over here because it's normal. You're like, okay.
It's because how you raised her. It's the only thing that you know.
Because the church told us whenever we questioned anything or we ever said anything, that's just what God wants. That's just the way God deemed it. And you're like, okay.
When you date to marry and you marry young, you don't have the experience to understand what is and is not acceptable, to understand what is and is not toxic, and what is coercion. You don't understand that, and the only people you have around you are people who are already involved in that, whose life has often been the same thing. That's where there's one for my ex actually had she had a conversation with someone at what she worked with who was deep into the Southern Baptist Church. And the person told her, well, are you fulfilling your wifely duties? Yeah. That's pretty much what they want you to believe. That is.
Screw them and have babies. That's your wifely duties. Yeah. Screw them and have your babies. Have the babies. That's it.
And when you don't have life experience and you don't have other people around you who have life experience like that, you just go along with it. You're just like, well, this is how it is. That's what I thought in my marriage. Well, this. I'm not happy, but like this is just what marriage is. This is normal. It isn't until you start to talk to people and you realize this is not healthy. This is not normal. This is toxic. This is not okay. That you start to realize this isn't how I'm not supposed to feel like this. And this isn't okay.
And I'm just going to say this isn't just Southern Baptist. This mindset is not just Southern Baptist. It's not just Baptist, and it's not just Protestants. Yeah. I've seen many Catholics. I've seen many people who are, Islamic, who are, Jewish. They all have that same type of mindset. It's very much trying to and you stay in that mindset. And it's very much we don't condone divorce. We don't condone this. That's just the way marriage is, and you have to suck it up.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So it's not just like this is our experience, but I have absolutely seen several Catholics and Muslims and Jews who have been in the same situation where they're, especially like their parents are like, no, you married them. That's your spouse and you need to suck it up and
make
just
it work.
Like the rest of us. It's very much that toxic. It's like, just like the rest of us.
That misery loves company. Because if you take a different approach, they want you to validate their existence. They want you to validate their life. So if you are miserable and you stick it out, you're validating them not doing anything. But as soon as you go, you know what? No, this is not it. I'm done. This is not okay. It then highlights their situation, because if you can say no,
and of course, they're in that mindset of, well, I don't want to take accountability for my choices, so I'm just going to blame you and tell you all the things that why we think you did the wrong thing. And I'm like, at this point, I'm like, fuck it. Like, fuck it. Like, I don't, whatever. I don't know. But speaking of marriage and your ex, I can't speak on this because I got married post church. Now, I didn't start deconstructing until after I was married. So a lot of my thoughts on marriage itself aren't Christian based. My spouse is Catholic, or not. He's not practicing, but he was raised Catholic. So we had and my sister was the same way. My sister married a Catholic and she even converted to Catholicism. I know, it was weird. I was like, we married Catholics. I don't know how that worked out, but okay. So I'm gonna have to default to you on a lot of these things because
That's what I'm here
I
for.
did not marry a good Christian boy. I did not.
Mhm.
I was engaged
Mhm.
to two, and notice I
Mhm.
didn't marry
And
them. I was
yeah, but say,
engaged to
and
two
how
of
did that
them.
work out for you? I remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was engaged to two very. One was a preacher's son, and one was a very devout Baptist boy. So yeah. So okay, we.
Yeah.
So you decide to marry him. So you're dating them, and you decide. So how did all that come about, Sean?
Oh
How
God.
did you decide to marry
So
your wife, your ex-wife?
it's a progression. It's just like what we've talked about. You date to marry. You see them. You're like, oh, I can see us getting married. That's what God wants. God brought them into my life. Like your brain is completely warped by this concept. And then if you start having sex, and justifying your stuff because I can see myself getting married, then you create that own pressure. Well, you have to, because if you don't get married, then oh my God, you just did these horrible, shameful things. And so instead of you approaching marriage as, is this what I want to do? Is this good? Am I happy about this? Is this what I want for the rest of my life? You don't look at it that way. You look at it as the next lot. Well, I should. It's the next thing. It's the next step. It's what God would want. We've done all these things. So the way in which you approach the idea of marriage and getting married is completely off. I remember not thinking, I didn't go into marriage thinking, oh my God, I want to be with this person for the rest of my life. They are my best friend, and I can't imagine not having them in my life. No, that is not what I thought. It was, well, I mean, why not? That's not when you think about getting married, why not should not be the question, the answer to the question of should I get married. I mean, yeah, sure, why not? No, oh my God, that was horrible. Didn't know it at the time, of course. That's what pretty much everybody was doing. So
Mhm.
I did it, got
Weren't
engaged,
you getting
got
ready to
married.
leave? Like, weren't you getting ready to graduate college?
Yeah, I had graduated. She was in her last year of college, and I had already graduated when we got married. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So you
mhm.
guys were reaching that point to where it was almost unnatural. Like you guys were in your
Yes.
late mid 20s, and so it was
Yeah.
unnatural for you to not
Mhm.
be together or not get married. What are
Yes.
you waiting on?
Yeah, why would I yeah, why would I not get married? You might as well get married and then, start having kids. So that was the pressure that was my perspective from, and that's where I got from the church. That's what you do. Um and mm, then there came the sexual shame and guilt. That's a fun part of what you learn in the marriage. You're talking about like wife, we talk wifely duties and the wife being coerced. It's funny, and it's funny how we talked about flipping the switch when you're dating, when you start to date. It's the same thing happens in marriage. When you get married and you're raised that all this stuff is bad, sex is bad. Don't be a whatever. Don't fornicate, right? Sex is this horrible, horrible thing.
I don't know why
Love the
that
word fornicate.
name, why that word just like
It's a fun word, fornicate.
I think it's because
Um,
I have the trauma of fornication. I'm just like,
yes, you do, because the words in the Bible so many times, and
right.
they like to use it. Fornicators don't fornicate. Um, so you're taught that sex is bad, and then you
Mhm.
get married, and all of a sudden you're supposed to flip a switch, and this thing that is a terrible, no, you shouldn't do it, it's disgusting, it's just all of a sudden you flip,
Right.
flip a switch and it's good now, it's okay, it's fine.
It's all
A-
good. All good.
Anything you want to
Yeah.
do, whatever, it's fine. And just your brain doesn't work like that. These things that you're taught to believe, you don't just flip a switch and then all of a sudden it's okay, but you're
What?
expected for it to be okay,
What? You mean
right?
your trauma
Yeah.
affects your mindset and and they
What?
when they train you a certain way for
Mm-hmm.
so many years and then
Mm-hmm.
the expectation does a 180 and then you're not like,
You
"What?"
can't. Yeah, you get whiplash from it. and it causes problems. And I found myself a good Christian girl. She grew up in the church. She was very, very devout. We went to church and all that fun stuff. And then there was a specific moment where, like, I'm now supposed to flip that switch and everything sex is okay, and I can do these things. And so I did something overt. I was like, I was interested, and I wanted to, and I initiated something, and she had a very negative reaction to it, and it completely shifted the mindset. And she was still kind of in that sex is shameful,
Mhm.
and I was trying to get out of that, and it created problems. We never learned to communicate. We never learned to communicate through that. We never learned to understand what sexuality is and what the healthy aspects of it, and how to deal with what we learned. Of course, because that was normal in the church, and so why would there be any reason to learn how to deal with that when it's normal, when it's supposed to be normal, and it caused a lot of problems.
I love how like you have the dating and it's quotes from books and stuff, and then your rules,
Yeah,
rituals of marriage is like this
it's
list.
it is. Should we go through these? They're
Okay,
messed up.
yes, let's go through them. Let's go through them so it'll keep you focused a little bit. Leave
Yeah.
and cleave. Let that. I'm just gonna go read the list, and you can
That's a
explain. Do your
That's such a
explanation.
popular the term leave and cleave. That's such a popular thing. It's you leave your
Mhm.
mother and father and you cleave to your spouse. And it creates the idea of you leave your parents and then you two are your world. You two are the center of each other's universe. It's you against everyone else. It's just the two of you. You leave and you cleave and you like you're stuck in you're one flesh. Do you remember that phrase, one flesh? Um yeah, sorry, trauma. Should give you a trigger warning there. Um
Keep going. I'm gonna
I'm
need
gonna
a
give you a
minute. Keep
second. Okay.
going. Okay.
Yeah. So that's where the whole idea of your spouse is your one person. And my wife was very much affected by that because that created relationships with my ex. Is she expected me to be her one person, and she didn't need anyone else. And I wasn't actually okay with that. I know that's what I was taught, but I was like, I have friends. I need to have friends. I need to.
You
You are not
friends.
friends. Yeah. No, that's a whole different topic.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's the leave and cleave. Your spouse is your everything, and that is not healthy. And
Mm-mm.
therapists will tell you
Mm-mm.
that is not healthy.
Mm-mm. Yeah. That was like the one thing, like going through therapy is like, have your own motherfucking friends, have your
Yeah.
own
Yeah.
friends, have your own life. It is okay. And it's that whole two become one idea.
Yes.
Two
To become
people
one.
become one. What they don't
Yes.
tell you is it's two
Uh-huh.
people having one relationship, which also,
Mhm.
because I am poly positive, I don't necessarily agree with that either. But
Yes.
okay,
Yeah.
we're going along the Christian mindset.
Mhm.
Two people but they don't teach you to become one, as in two people coming together in one marriage, working in one
Yes.
relationship, to become one person. You're one
Yes. That's
person in the
yep.
eyes of God.
Yep.
You are no longer your own individual. You are two people
Yes.
becoming one unit. And it's
Yes.
like you are never, like, you are someone's wife. You are never referred
Mhm.
to as yourself anymore. When you are married, like, you're never referred to as, oh, this is Anna. No,
That's
I'm somebody's wife. Sean,
that's
you were
especially true
in the church.
for wives. Yes, and especially true in church. Especially church. Yeah, you're introduced. The wife is often introduced as the spouse. This is my wife. It's never this is this person, and they happen to be. It's always this is my. Yeah.
This is my wife.
Hmm.
And sometimes they'll give you your name. Sometimes they
Sometimes,
won't.
yeah. Sometimes it won't.
This is
Yep. Yep.
this
Your
is my wife.
value is only based upon your relationship to him.
Or this is Billy Bob's wife,
Hmm.
Joanne. This is not
Hmm.
Joanne. She's married to Billy Bob, which is a
Yes.
healthy way of introducing somebody. And it's like, oh,
Yes.
maybe you know Billy Bob. And well, this is Billy
Yeah.
Bob's wife. No, they'll
Mhm.
introduce you. And this is all through the church. This
Yeah.
is Billy Bob's wife, which is the most important part, Susan. Like,
Mhm.
no, this is Susan. She's married to Billy Bob. That is putting the person in front of her relationship. That is a person in her role or whatever. That is a huge difference. And some people are like, well, it's the same thing. No, it is absolutely not. It is absolutely not. You're putting emphasis, just like it's what we call it's subconscious. And in case you didn't know, here's a fun psychological fact, and it has to do with proper manners. When you are introducing somebody to someone, say you're introducing two people, you know somebody, and here is your boss, and here is a coworker or somebody from another state or what your friend. You always in precedence or introduce somebody. So, hi, Timmy. This is, you always present the most important person first. You always do. And that's always, you always present the most important information first, because that's the first thing somebody hears about you. So when you say, this is Billy Bob's wife, Susan, you are the most important, the precedence, the most important information is that's Billy Bob's wife. But when you say, this is Susan, she's married to Billy Bob, you are introducing the person and then inserting the information that needs to be heard. That is a huge difference, and it's psychological, and it is something that you think, but it's the same thing. It is not the same thing, because your brain processes the information differently. So when you hear this is Billy Bob's wife, you automatically think subservient, and you don't put her as a person individually important. And that is a psychological thing that you don't know that you're doing. And you don't know that that's how it's presented. And then you wonder why. So it is a thing to be just aware of. Just you don't know and a lot of people don't know that they're doing it. And a lot of people don't understand.
So
most
normal.
important information, especially in introductions, comes first. And that's...
Yeah. If you ever wonder why you have trouble remembering somebody's name when you're introduced to someone, pay attention to what order that information is given to you. Is it their role given to you first, or is it their name given to you first?
So you're not
Usually it's going to be
necessarily
the
bad
role.
with names. It's and it's also how people introduce themselves. I'm so and so.
Sometimes you do it to yourself.
Right, and you don't know. You don't realize.
Because you're used to doing it.
Yes.
That's just how it happens. That's a good, very good point. Aru's given us the science.
This is good to know. I always wonder how to broach that, because many of my friends are married. Yes. So when you're introduced, so just a fun fact, that's a thing. And I am very much, when I try to introduce, or when I'm getting introduced, like my spouse didn't understand why that bothered me so much. And I was like, no, I want to be known as my own person. I am not defined by the fact that I am married to you. I am married to you, and I am okay with being married to you. Like I am perfectly happy being your spouse, but I am my own person, and I want them to know that I am my own person. And I don't want to be known as your spouse. I want to be known as, I am Anna, and I am married to you. That is how I want to be known. And there's a huge difference, and you don't realize you're doing it. So always introduce them as the person first, their role second. Their role, they are not defined by that role.
Very good.
My intro is usually, hi, I'm B. I'm married to that guy that hired you. See,
Okay.
You introduce yourself. Hi, I am so-and-so. I am this person. I am me. I am me. I am this person. And that's okay. Anyway, that's the two that was my rant on the two to become one thing, because that had that. That was one that just really, it affected me, but I was very much, this is one of the few ones that I rebelled against. I didn't just accept it. So continue. Never be alone with person of the opposite gender who is not your spouse.
So you got to avoid temptation, because, if you're alone with someone who's of the opposite gender from you, there's a good chance that you guys will immediately just rip off each other's clothes and just go to town. You should not be in alone with someone of the opposite gender, whether it's in public or in private.
Tell me you have self-worth issues without telling me you have motherfucking self-worth issues. This one, right motherfucking here. This one, and this is not just Christian either. Like secular, like They do it too. It's
This-
very much
yeah.
tell me you have motherfucking self-worth issues without
Mhm.
telling me you have self-worth issues. It's when you feel threatened, and so many people try to justify it by like, oh, my gut was right. My gut was right. Well, maybe if you hadn't been so pushy and insecure, maybe you wouldn't push them towards other people. Maybe if you were just more
Mhm.
confident about who you are in your relationship with that person and you had a healthy communication.
Yeah.
Tell me your motherfucking. I don't know how many friends. Oh, I don't know how many friends I lost because the other person was so insecure about themselves that they made them stop talking to me.
I mean, yeah, that's a that's a good point. I mean,
Mhm.
it's very valid. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So moving on.
Oh, no. Why don't you explain that one to me? Explain that one why don't you share with the class? Explain that one, John.
All right.
This was the defining moment in our relationship, so I feel like you need to share.
It was. So we were really good friends in college. We were actually better friends after we dated than while we dated. So we were really good friends for years after we broke up. And then I started dating a good Christian girl, and things got serious. Um, she felt very threatened by Arugs being in my life. I didn't realize it at the time, but it was because Arugs was the voice of reason for me. She was the one. She tried to be anyway. Sometimes there was no reasoning with me. That was not on her. That was
I
on
tried
me.
to be subtle. I learned over
did.
time that being subtle with you is
Subtlety
not.
did not work.
I tried to be subtle when it
No.
came to this relationship. I tried to be
do
courteous.
remember. I do. So I had just gotten engaged. If I remember correctly, I had just gotten engaged, and I told you we were talking, and I told you
Over aim.
that we
Over aim.
aim over AOL Instant Message. Yes. Oh
Yes.
God, that's
This is how old we were.
All right.
Okay.
We yeah.
Anyway, go
it was either that or a carrier pigeon. So it was over AIM. And I remember you saying in the very Arugs way that you say it, "Are you sure this is what you want? Are you are you positive? I mean, have you really thought about this? Are you sure this is what you want?"
And you said yes. I don't know. You gave some
Yeah.
convoluted, like non-confirming
Non-answer?
answer, and I would.
The answer, I mean, that's what I do.
And then I said, "Well, if this is what you want, and it makes you happy, then I'm happy for you." Which again is my rule
Yeah.
of going. You're fucking up so hard, but you know what? I love you, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna just support your bad decision. All right,
So-
cool.
Yeah, so my who is now my ex had said, had given me the ultimatum that Arugs could not be in my life. If we were going to continue, Arugs could not be in my life. And so of course I was like, well, I'm supposed to be marrying this person, so this is the person that God put in my life. So that's what I'm gonna have to do. So I had that conversation with Arugs where I said we can't be friends anymore.
Mhm.
Everything in my head was screaming, no, this is wrong. The flags were going off, the klaxons were blaring, but I felt that I had to do that. It was appropriate for me to cut off my relationship with the Rugs because my fiance said that I needed to. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it was because
Bad.
we were actually in the same music fraternity together, and she never liked me, and she was always talking shit about me, and it was very much I'm gonna just say it for you. We had not been speaking for 10 years, and she was bringing me up in their marriage therapy. Like, she was bringing me up still. Like, I was such a source of insecurity for her because I was more talented than her. I was more outgoing than her. I was better looking than her. Everything about me bothered her so much that even though we had done exactly what she had asked us to do, we did not communicate. We didn't acknowledge each other's existence for decades. And she still brought me up in marriage counseling.
Yep. It was like 8 years later or something. 8, 9, 8, yeah, probably 8 or 9 years later when her and I went to marriage counseling. That was one of the main topics in our marriage counseling.
I was married with a kid at that point.
Yeah. It was messed up. So Oh God. So
So,
there's these weird, rules about not
go
being
ahead.
alone with the person.
Mhm.
Not being alone in public. Here's another one, and again, these things do kind of apply a lot. Some people adhere to these outside of the religion. A lot of these come from, whether you realize it or not, come from these religious ideals, even if the
Mhm.
people enacting them aren't in the church. They came from somewhere. So this idea of never be alone in public with a person of the opposite gender who's not your spouse. So it's one thing to be alone in a private area. It's a whole other thing for the spouse and someone else to be seen in public doing anything. Oh my, they were at dinner together. They had lunch together. They were having coffee. I saw them chatting on the street corner. Like that becomes the tea. Oh my god, did you see what I saw John and Jane at Starbucks together? And that, so what? Big deal. But that was ingrained in my head as, oh, you can't be alone with someone even in public, because
Mhm.
why they were at dinner together. She
Why was
touched
your
his arm. She smiled at him.
Jesus is here? Okay.
What? Oh.
Um,
That's
um,
kind of what we are. We are trying to say, hey, look, plethora. There's a plethora. Yeah.
Jesus is here. Oh, they're trying to save our souls.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. No, there's not a call-in show. We are trying to save souls, but in a very different way.
Oh, so yes, that is very, very true. Uh, it was one
Mhm.
of those they tried to make again this whole your life is about your spouse. And
Mhm.
here's where the triangulation thing happens. As long
Yes.
as you and your spouse are
Mhm.
concentrating on your relationship with God and Jesus, that you two are going to get closer. They don't ever teach you that
Triangle.
requires like communication, that
Yes.
requires understanding. That no, as long as have a good relationship with God, you're going to have a good relationship with your spouse. False. That is
Total
false.
BS. Totally.
False. Because you can
Yes.
have a great
That
relationship with
triangle.
Jesus and not have a great relationship with your spouse. Period. End of story. Like, that's just it.
Yeah. That triangle was beat into us. That was over and over
How
again.
did that
The
work for
whole
you and your ex, Sean?
went fantastic. 15 years of a miserable marriage ending in divorce. It was great.
But you guys were close. Like you guys worked on your relationship with God, right? Like you guys went
Oh
to
yeah.
church.
Yeah. Yeah, us and God were like a throuple.
Yeah.
No. No, no. No. Um Did not work. Did not work out well at all. But that was what we were taught. As long as we were getting close, if we get closer to God, you get closer
Mhm.
to each other. It's like a triangle. No, that's
Oh my
fake.
god, they teach you
That's
about that when you're dating too. That's how
yeah.
you should approach it.
Yep.
Let's not talk about, conflict and resolution. Let's not talk about
Mhm.
understanding and empathy. Let's not talk about those
No.
things that no, because you're gonna give it to God and God's gonna fix it. That was
Yes.
the
Yes.
God is gonna fix it. God is going to fix your marriage. So, if you're having issues with your spouse, if you're having trouble, if you are
Hmm.
feeling a certain way or they're doing something that hurts you, you give it to God and God will lay it upon their hearts. And here they
Yes.
are over here maybe
Yes.
feeling a certain way, maybe thinking a certain way, maybe going through some
Hmm.
things. Maybe you don't know. Maybe you don't know that, like, especially with the pressure that a male is under, like with providing and being
Hmm.
manly and all of these things that like they teach you. He might be going through stuff, but they also don't teach him how to talk about it. So again,
No,
you
not
give
at
it to
all.
God and just hope that magic gets stirred around and it lays on his heart and he's going to know how to share with you and that you're going to know how to help him or talk about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was it. We did not learn how to communicate within the marriage. at all.
Or any relationship.
Yeah, any relationship. It was all about, you could talk to God, but I mean, they taught you all about how to talk to God, but they didn't teach you anything about how to talk to your spouse
Right.
in a healthy way.
No.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
so we're going to talk about all the joint stuff right here. We're going to loop
The
that
joint
together.
stuff. Yes.
Yes.
Oh my God. Yeah. This is one of those things that was completely it was totally a joke to me. It was absolutely ridiculous, and I
Yeah, you
never.
had one.
No. Mm-mm. Well, finances, yes, sort of.
Okay.
So one of the something that was very common. I don't think it's as common now, but I know it was because I knew a lot of people that had it. Joint social media, email, and finances. Focus more on the social media and email first. I know a lot of people. How many times do you get an email from John and Sue? Whatever last name, John and Sue Smith. Their email address was a joint email address, so all of their communication went out through the same email address. That was taught by the church. Oh, well, because why
Oh,
would
and social medias too. Social medias too.
Yes.
All the social
Same thing.
medias. You always had a joint account. You always had
Because
a joint
why
account.
would you not? Why would you want to have a private account? You would only want to have a private account if you have something to hide. What do you have to hide? What are you hiding? What are you hiding from your spouse? They should know
But
everything.
see, that's the thing, is that you didn't have any suspicions until the church taught you to have suspicions. Like, that was the thing.
Yep.
It's like, I don't care if they have their
Uh-huh.
own email. I don't care if they have their own account. Okay, I'm going to trust them. They teach you to not trust them. They teach you
Yes.
not to trust them. You trust God.
Yes.
You can trust everything
Yes.
about what God wants you to do, and you can trust
Yep.
that everything he does is right. But don't trust your spouse. No,
Mm-mm.
because everything they're doing is suspicious. And everything they do, if they want to do anything of their own, and they don't want to, and if they don't want to tell you, then they're up to something, because the devil is in the privacy. I'm like, what?
Yes.
What? They don't teach. I wasn't distrusting until I was told I had to be distrusting. Like,
yes, when you were taught that if your spouse was doing anything with someone else of the opposite gender, that there was something bad going to happen. They taught you that apparently no one can control their urges, and any two people of the opposite gender in the same area are just going to jump each other's bones.
or just not even just the opposite gender. Let's talk about just even the same gender. Why do you talk to Billy and not to me? I'm your wife.
Yeah.
You should be able to share all of those things with me. Why are you over here, like, talking about your emotions and your concerns? Why are you always talking to him and not to me? I'm your wife. I should know everything. I should know everything. I should fulfill every want and every need.
Yes.
I should be everything. No, you are a person. And you know what?
Yes.
Maybe you're the problem. And maybe they don't want to talk to you about being the problem. And that's okay. Maybe they're talking to Billy and they're just trying to sort through everything they want to do before God's infallible, but spouse from God seems suspicious. Right? This is the person that God's supposed to give to you. But this is the person that God laid at your feet. This is the person that God gifted to you because you are soulmates and you were both made for each other, but you can't trust them to, like, further than you can smell them. Like, what? Like, I don't understand that.
And if they equate privacy with secrecy. If you want privacy, that means you have secrets, and that's but that's not. You can have privacy is important. So what they say is that if you want to have privacy, you're hiding secrets, you're keeping things from everyone else. And if you trusted me, if you wanted me to trust you, you should share these things with me. What they don't what in this message, what they don't realize is that if we share every single thing, that's actually the opposite of trust. Because if I have to share everything with you for you to believe me, you're not trusting me about anything. Because if you trusted me, I wouldn't have to show everything to you. There's the catch. There's the flaw. Privacy is okay. Therapists will tell you it's okay to have privacy. You need privacy. That's why people can't hear your thoughts. You have to have some level of privacy.
Right.
And that doesn't mean that your spouse, significant other, whatever, is up to something.
Right. And that's the thing, is that they teach you to trust in God, but and it's one of those, and that whole, well, I need you to give me everything so I can trust you. And like you said, that's not
It's not
trust.
trust. Nope.
Trust, and here's the thing, trust is faith. Having faith in that other person. Having faith that that person is doing exactly what they say. And yeah, okay, they're going to screw up. And okay, they might make mistakes. And that's where forgiveness comes in. And, maybe it's that whole, like, I don't trust you, but I need a list of XYZ so I can trust you. That's called
Yes.
anxious attachment. That's called
Yes.
anxiety, anxious attachment. And I have learned that. That is great. Yay, in my healing. Anxious attachment is having to know everything before you can trust, before you can feel secure. You feel insecure if you don't know everything. And that's not the case. You have to learn and have, and this is also, again, not just a Christian thing, but you have to, a lot of non-Christians go, I need you to share everything with me because I've been hurt before. So
Yes.
I've been hurt before. So I need all of that from you so that I can feel secure. And then it's like, I want, and the phrase, I want to trust you. I want to trust you, but you're not making it easy for me to trust you. Well, trusting
By
somebody
not
is
sharing everything. Yeah.
trusting is not easy. It's a fucking motherfucking choice. To trust somebody is a motherfucking choice, and that's what they don't tell you. Sometimes trusting somebody means feeling a little uncomfortable, and that's a fact. I know, I've done
And
it.
it's
Trusting
yeah,
somebody.
and your lack of trust is about you, not about them. Sometimes
Right.
that lack of trust is because of what you've been through, not because they've done anything.
Oh, thanks.
It kind of is, yeah.
It's, well, today we're talking about dating and marriage.
We are.
Last week we talked about love. We got all sorts of things. Oh, thanks, Nav. How long you two married for? Oh, she obviously doesn't know. To fill you in,
Yes.
Sean and I dated back when I was in high school. He was in college. That was over 20 something years ago. We broke up and we, I know. And we became friends, and then we stopped talking because of his ex-spouse. And then we reconnected about 8 years later, and 5 years ago, 18. Yeah, 5 years ago. So we reconnected 5 years ago, and we're best friends. And so they call us Nana and PepPep because we fight like a married couple.
We kind of do, yeah.
We do fight like they visited me for my birthday one time, and he was driving and I was in the passenger seat, and our two friends were like, Nana and PepPep are fighting again, because we bicker like a married couple. That's why we're waking up with Nana and PepPep.
That's what we are.
You're driving. Your driving fucking sucks. So what was the secret of love last week? We were discussing how the church tainted our view and our mental and emotional approach to love. And I got very emotional about it. And
it was friendship. It was friendship. It was relation. It wasn't just romantic relationships, romantic love. It was friendships.
Yes, it was all how we approach love and affection,
and
parents.
Yeah.
So it's very much how the church sort of warped how we viewed love and relationships. Your pillow on your ground looked like it could have been in a clothing closet. These, I have all sorts of stuff in my head. So yeah. So really, to wrap it up, is pretty much, what did you learn after you got divorced about love and marriage, after you got out of your good Christian marriage and your mom tried to talk you out of being divorced to a woman that was like mentally and emotionally toxic to you? Like, what did you learn about yourself and being the good Christian boy versus being the heathen?
Trying to be the good Christian spouse, really, it just made me miserable. It made me, I fell into a lot of codependency, always martyrdom. Martyrdom really is what defined a lot of the marriage. It'll get better if I just do more, if I just do this, there's always something else that I feel like I should have been doing in order to make it better. I didn't feel like divorce was an option. Divorce isn't an option in the church. Um, that's what I was taught growing up. So I would, this is what I felt marriage was. A lot of a lot of my family members, because my entire family grew up is in the church. The when you get up, when you've been married for so long, all you do is like, there's just a lot of bickering and there's a lot of fighting, and it's just like coexistence. So that's pretty much all the examples I had, was everyone just coexisting. And so I just assumed I was miserable, but I assumed this is marriage. This is what marriage is. After you've been married for, I've been married for over 10 years. This is what marriage was. You just got to deal with it. So,
That's my favorite option too, but
Yeah.
it's a good stress relief.
yeah. Yeah. Um, I mean, and what's sad is that even when I explained how terrible and how toxic the relationship had become, um, my mom would be like, "Well, are you sure you can't get back together? Are you sure you can't reconcile? Are you sure you can't make it work?" I'm like, no. Like, do you understand? This is what I dealt with. Do you realize that we're still married and she's dating someone else, openly dating someone else?
He lived in your house.
Yeah, she wanted him to move in for like 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So no, this is not a healthy situation. This hasn't been a healthy situation in a long time. I was she wanted me to be her everything.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't okay with that. But she wasn't okay. She wanted me to be at home all the time to take care of her. Um she wanted me to be at home. What no matter It didn't matter what I was doing. She
Mm-hmm.
just wanted me to be at home. She didn't want me to be elsewhere. She didn't want me to be out and hanging out with friends or doing anything else. She didn't want to spend time with me. She just wanted me to be at home so I could do whatever she needed to do. And because I wasn't out doing who knows what with someone. Even though she was dating someone
Sorry,
else.
adorable dreams.
Yeah. It was a very
So what is
toxic relationship.
right? What did you learn afterwards? What was the what
What did I
is
learn
like what has
afterwards?
changed about
Um
after you left that and got divorced out of that that Christian marriage?
yeah.
What do you want your next relationship, your next marriage to be like, and how do you want that now that you're deconstructing, now that you're like really
Yeah.
trying to come to terms with like your mental and emotional health? What do you want out of your next relationship?
Um open and honest communication. Um trying to improve. We're a couple, we're in a relationship, but we're not the relationship. Our identity is more than the relationship. We are individuals first, and we are coming together in a relationship, but we're still very much individuals. We
Mm-hmm.
are responsible for our own mental health. We are responsible for growing individually, and before we're growing as a couple. um a lot is just open honesty and communicating well, talking about things. That's one thing that I never really did, was clearly communicating,
Mm-hmm.
and trying. And that's a lot of what I'm looking for in another relationship. I don't The whole religion thing, the whole God thing, that's done. That all is done with. I don't need a good Christian girl. Forget that. I found one that didn't work out so well.
No.
Um, no, it didn't work out so well. Um, so yeah,
All right.
that's a lot of what I'm looking for, because that didn't exist. Autonomy is a big part of that. I I need to have friends. I want them to have friends. Um,
Now, what we're
mhm,
saying is, and we're not saying every Christian marriage is like this, and we're not saying
mm,
every Christian dating relationship is like, we're not saying any of that. This again is how we were raised, and
yeah,
we were also raised in a generation of massive, like, just look it up. There's actually a lot of documentaries, there's a lot of reading about
yeah,
the purity culture of the 90s, which is when we were raised in the early aughts, where it was um miss this. Was it a regular Christian or a group within Christianity? Or I'm not quite sure. Are you
Southern
talking about Southern Baptist, because I'm
Yeah,
not
we
quite.
both grew up Southern Baptist.
Yeah, like
That's the perspective we're coming from, is growing up Southern
yeah,
Baptist.
yes.
Hmm.
So we're not saying
This
that
is
they're
our
all like this.
experience.
I have
Yeah.
seen many Christian marriages who are, they communicate and they're
Oh
loving
yeah.
and they're wonderful. And I've seen many dating relationships who are the same way. We're just this in when our churches, our experiences, how like it was not healthy. It was not healthy at all. How our church approached it was not healthy, and how we ended up approaching our relationships and our marriages and all of that. So we're not saying that you can't have a loving, wonderful Christian relationship or any type of religious relationship. That is not it. But because all of everything that we've said, also 100% true in secular and non-religious relationships.
That's that's why we say at the very beginning that we're not downing faith. We're not trashing people that have faith, that believe, that are Christians. What we're saying is that if you're when you're doing something, make sure you're doing something in a healthy manner, whether you're religious or not. It's about the mental health and about
right. And just being aware, you can still, and it's absolutely 100%. I believe in ice cream. Yummy. I do too. Carbs and sugar. That's exactly right. We and for those who come in late, they don't necessarily hear that. We are not here to bash people's faith. We are not here to discourage you from having your faith. We are here sharing our own experiences and our own traumas, because we are deconstructing ourselves. Oh, I didn't say that at the beginning. We are two people deconstructing.
We are
deconstructing and reconstructing ourselves in a way that is that we're just working through our traumas, and the church had a lot to do with it. And as Sean and I go through therapy, we did not realize how deep that went. And we honestly, him and I,
codependency.
We did not realize how deep the religious trauma actually went. And that also has to tie in with our families, because our families were so involved in the church. And it was one of those, you don't realize what you don't know what you don't know. And so that's why we have this podcast, is that we are just trying to we're not trained professionals. We are just two trauma triscuits trying to share our experiences, our thoughts, our opinions. And we totally are glad if you don't agree with them. We are glad that you don't agree with them, because that means you're thinking for yourself, and we encourage that. That is something that we are 100% on board with. You do not have to agree with us. You can dislike anything that we say. That is totally fine, because you are thinking for yourself. And that is something that we absolutely encourage. So
part of what got me where I was is because I wasn't talking to people and I didn't know. I didn't understand. There was no communication, but I didn't know that there was anything different. And so with this podcast, like if you're in a relationship and it's healthy and it's great and you're happy, fantastic. But maybe you're in a relationship that isn't so much, and you're like, wait, this isn't normal. Other people are going through this, have gone through this. Holy crap. And that's where I came to, is I didn't know any different. So once I started realizing this is not normal, I went, oh my God, this has got to stop. I can't do this anymore.
we also have a trained therapist who watches our podcast, maybe not right away, but she watches post hoc, and she will be the first to tell us when we're not right. So in case you're wondering, we actually have somebody who fact checks us. So it's fine. So she fact checks us a lot.
Yeah. Yes, she does.
And we love her for it. We are drama triscuits, and she eats it with some Riesling, and it's fine. So with that, happy Super Bowl Sunday. I don't even know who's playing. I think the Eagles. Are the Eagles?
Yes. Eagles in Kansas City.
Oh, okay. All right, cool.
My therapist is not. My therapist does a lot of others. Yeah, my therapist will tell me, you need to. I think we need to rethink that. I think we need to look into that some more.
A good therapist will tell you when you're not right. A good therapist will tell you when you're down a very not right help. Like
he will challenge. My therapist will challenge my assertions often.
That's why you're going to a therapist, because you're not right.
I am. Because I'm not right. Yeah.
They will also tell you when you're doing good too. Yeah. They also will tell you when you've grown. They're there for both. That's why a good therapist will say, okay, so what
They may
it's
use
not-
that language. They'll use the therapist language a lot of times, but that's what they're saying.
They won't tell you you're being fucking dumb and like figure it out. They won't tell you that, but you know, that's cool. So anyway, here's what we're doing this week. So thank you for being here with Nana and PepPep. I will be streaming during the Super Bowl because I don't care about the Eagles or Kansas City. I mean, no, the Eagles are right under the Patriots for me of top two hated football teams, but I'm a Panthers fan. We suck, so it's fine. I will be streaming. I have 76 Sundays right back here on this channel, and that's at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. I am doing Will You Be My Valentine, where I go collect some teddy bears and some candy and some alcohol, and then I go around the server giving these gifts to random other players on the server, and I might do some server hopping and telling people that will they be my Valentine. So that is tonight on 76 Sundays. That's on Fallout 76. And then following that at 8 p.m., 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central, we have BSBN Gaming. I think they're doing 7 days again still. Who knows?
Probably.
Just follow, like, subscribe to all of them. They're a lot of fun to watch. I think Glitch is now streaming with them, which is a lot of fun.
I think we're absorbing Glitch into the BSBN.
Steven's
We'll
next.
see.
I'm gonna
Yes,
try
we
to
gotta
get
get
Steven
Steven
there,
in
but
too.
that one's a little bit gonna take a little bit of time. But anyway, then immediately following that, we have our resident elder being Nev with Zarknor After Dark. He's doing Dead Man Zone or Dead Man something.
Dead Space.
Something.
That was Dead Space.
Dead Space. Something dead. Something's dead, and he's playing it, and he's fun.
There's
and
dead
I love him.
and there's space.
So that's at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central, following the BSBN Gaming. And that wraps up our Sunday lineup. And then we start again with Monday. I think it's doing Ask Auntie and Unc. Or is this the week?
So
Ask Auntie and Unc tomorrow at 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central on Miko's channel. And that's with Miko and Glitch. And then following that is D101 on Dondero's channel with me and John Dondero. And we do fuck shit. That's fine. That's what we do. We cause chaos and mayhem. And and then following that is a Roogs happy hour right back here at 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central. And that's where we just try to unwind from our Monday. And it's a lot of fun. That's with Shep, Sean, and John and myself. So a lot of fun. That's through tomorrow. Thank you guys for joining us. Just know that there's healthy dating, there's unhealthy dating, there's being happily married, and then there's pretending you're happy. And you know, it takes work. Any relationship, be it friendship, marriage, dating, whatever, all relationships take work and they take time. And you know what? Give yourself a little grace, give your partner a little grace, and we love you. I think that's it. Do you have anything else?
No, I think you pretty much covered it. I think we covered it today.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week.
We love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
3, 2, 1.